Good evening from London. Welcome to Piers Morgan Uncensored. It's almost 4 years now since Harry and Meghan made the groundbreaking announcement. They were quitting the royal family, stepping down as senior royals, moving to the United States and finding freedom. Well, since that moment, they've systematically and relentlessly exploited their existing royal status to make as much money as possible, while simultaneously trashing the royals and the monarchy to preserve their exposure and relevance. I think it's time we brought the Sussex circus to a formal end. Conservative MP Bob Seely is now introducing a bill in Parliament to strip them formally of their titles. The Duke and Duchess can be Mr and Mrs like the rest of us, he said. Someone doesn't want to be a royal, that's a decision we respect. They shouldn't keep the titles and privileges if they trash an institution that plays an important part in our nation's life. I think he's right. And as he also says, the baseless racism claims that are now embroiled the King and Princess of Wales, well, they should be the final straw, shouldn't they? The author behind those damning claims, who claims he wasn't the author behind those damning claims, but who else could he have been the author of those damning claims, given it was in the manuscript of his own book in which these damning claims were made? Sussex lab dog Omid Scobie is still tying himself in the web of his own lies.
Yeah, what a series of events, right? And what a frustrating experience for me for a book that was so heavily vetted, legaled, I's dotted, T's crossed, and a book that I was extremely proud of, now completely overshadowed by an event that has caused me a lot of frustration as well. We have a full investigation going on into this series of events that happened.
Yeah, I know you're frustrated, buddy, but imagine how frustrated King Charles is, or the Princess of Wales, that somehow they got called racists in a manuscript you claim you didn't actually draft that way. That's frustrating, isn't it? When the entire world is encouraged to think that you were named as racists. Little bit more frustrating than you not being able to work out why a draft of your own book appeared in the Netherlands and was translated from a copy that had the names on it that was sent to them apparently by your agent. How did your agent get that if you didn't write it? Does your agent write your books, Omid? Well, The Times has reported, like I said, that earlier version of the book did contain the names, and it was sent to the Dutch publisher. Harry and Meghan have stood by in stunning silence. So unlike them, isn't it? When private conversations of the kind that Meghan had with Charles in private letters began to circulate in this book as well, containing the names of the two people that she and Harry claim were racially insensitive about the potential skin colour of their baby. Now, these two can't normally wait to set the record straight, to sue, to go to court, to hold people to proper account for invasion of private correspondence or conversations. Why aren't they doing it now? They claim that they had nothing to do with Omid Scobie's new book. But you might remember Meghan claiming that about his last book. And then a strange thing happened. She was suing a newspaper, ironically, for invading her privacy over private correspondence. Rather similar to the situation we find ourselves in here. And when it came to the court case, after the book had been published that she had nothing to do with, she was forced to apologise because it turned out that not only had she had something to do with it, she'd given briefing notes to her aide to go to a meeting with Omid Scobie and brief him for the book. So she was a primary source for that book. So I don't know what you make of the silence from the Sussexes. We're into nearly week 2 now of a deafening, damning silence. Weird, right? Well, the question of whether they should keep their titles, in my view, comes down to this. And it's that if you're going to spark a race row, if you're going to accuse 2 senior members of our royal family of being racists, and if you're going to then deliberately not say the names for 2 years, so the whole world speculates over which member of this white supremacist family was racist, tarring them all with the brush. If you're going to do that, and then calmly, as Harry did at the start of this year, suddenly go, oh, we didn't mean to say they were racist. No, this was unconscious bias. That thing when someone isn't racist, but someone says they were thinking it. It was that. But we all know what we heard on Oprah. And in my view, they made their racial charge bed, and they now should lie in it. And you can't accuse the king of this country or the wife of our future king of this country of being racist and, in my opinion, keep the royal titles that you've been so cynically fleecing for the last 4 years? Or maybe you can. Let's have a debate about this. Journalist Rachel Johnson, Talk TV contributor Paula Rowan-Adrian, associate editor at The Mirror, Kevin Maguire, and the author and historian Sir Anthony Selden. So a fantastically high-powered panel tonight. Sir Anthony, let me start with you. Purely kind of constitutionally, historically, is it even possible to wrestle the titles away from them?
Well, I'm sure it is, Piers. The question is it all worth it? And is it going to be what they want because it just makes them more out to be victims of these hateful, exploitative people in Buckingham Palace? Wouldn't it just be better just to let them be forgotten and not to react? Because by reacting, by doing this, the Bob Seeley idea, I think it just makes them into victims, gives them even more publicity. There they are over all the world's headlines again as people, there must be some truth surely in what they're both saying. And I think that is not the right way to handle it. They're both clearly two very, very damaged people. They need help. I don't think they need stripping their royal titles.
See, I would question that. I would say they're very damaging people. I'm not saying they haven't been through damage.
They're that too, Piers.
But I think they've set out to be deliberately damaging to the royal family and the monarchy. They've taken hundreds of millions of dollars to do it. It is unprecedented in history for two renegade royals to go off and enrich themselves, making money out of targeting the royal family, isn't it? We've never seen this before.
It's not almost unprecedented, Piers. It is unprecedented for two members of the royal family deliberately to set out to hurt, harm, belittle, besmirch the monarch and the wife of the heir to the throne. That's unprecedented. Of course it's damaging, but of course the damaging action comes out of damaged people. The question is, I think, just what's the best way to do it? And I think myself, the best way to deal with it is not to give them the oxygen of even more entitlement to the claim of being victims.